Ever heard of a healthy, selfish partnership? Neither have I. But stay tuned to this live podcast for the next 30 minutes or so, where our amazing guest, Ray Kopakowski, highlights his fascinating book, Universal Guide to a Healthy, Selfish Partnership, to discuss exactly that, as well as some other important topics. Hi, my name is Dipchand Ramcharitar, and I'm the Outreach and Development Coordinator at Voice of Men 360. And welcome to episode 189 of our weekly podcast, Open Up, where we engage in meaningful conversations with thought leaders and game changers, exploring their personal stories and insights on topics relating mainly to men and boys and our community's interests. First of all, about our organization, Voice of Men 360 is a non-profit organization based in London, Ontario, Canada. We've been around for the past 5 years or so, and we primarily seek the interests of men and boys, though we're open to assisting any other demographic as best we can. We are part of International Men's Day. They have been around for more than 20 years and in probably 90 odd countries, and doing work on behalf of men and boys, uplifting them as best as they can. Before we continue, I would like to go through our disclaimer. We would like to remind you that Voice of Men 360's mission is always delivered with good faith towards peaceful harmony. The views and opinions expressed in today's episode are those of our speakers and do not necessarily represent Voice of Men 360. Our organization engages in discussion forums to offer inspiration and create awareness of the issues of men who wish to overcome their life challenges. We are not providing medical or therapeutic advice. Should you require that type of assistance, we recommend you contact a medical professional immediately. If you have any questions or concerns about today's episode or any Voice of Men 360 content, please email us at voiceofmen360.org. And on with the show, when we present our esteemed guest, the man of the hour, Ray Kopakowski, to introduce himself briefly, and then we'll get to some questions. Ray, the floor is yours.
Hi, hi, Dipchand. How are you today?
Excellent. How are you, sir?
I'm very, very good. I'm excited about this. And well, for everybody, first off, for everybody, my name is Ray Kopakowski. I'm a universal channel. I'm not entirely sure what a universal channel is, other than the fact that I get information, and the only way that I know I get it from is from the universe. Occasionally I will hear things, I will see things, and this type of stuff. And it's always connected to when I'm working with somebody. If there's an issue that they're going through, then it seems like I get my information that way. And to be helpful and insightful. I call myself the partner coach because what I do is I prepare people to move away from what I call failing and part of relationships, and I help them build partnerships where people can connect with each other and work together to have good relationships. It's a different thing. So I guess that's about it. I'm interested to get to these questions.
Okay, well, you certainly have been through a myriad of things in your life from a very early age on.
Yeah.
You've been through the wars and back, and you've obviously succeeded in not only bridging the tide there. You've made something of your life to reflect in a positive way to society, and you've reached out and helped many a person out there. So you're doing great work, and we really appreciate that. So we have some questions that would sort of highlight who you are. And obviously, we look forward to you sharing some insights into some other things that we have here to ask you. So first of all, how did your experiences both in the entertainment industry and struggles with addiction shape your perspective on life and relationships?
Um, it's interesting. I was joking around with you guys earlier on. I'm turning 75 next month.
Wow.
When I get very close to my birthday, I sort of go inside. It's an introspective time for me, and so your question was very it threw me for a second. No one has ever asked me that question, or at least I didn't hear it the way that maybe you intended. So my first question, I want to talk to you about what happened to me with this thing. I was born drunk. My mother was a lesbian. She was raped by several people. They tried to rape her straight. She was drunk the entire pregnancy. She tried to kill me. She beat herself in the stomach whenever she could. She would get drunk and fall down. She delivered me in a blackout. She was drunk when she delivered me, gave me up for adoption. So that's the first thing that happened to me as a child. Then I ended up I was adopted by a woman who ended up getting sick. I ended up in show business at 9 years old. And what I can tell you about that part of my life is that no one ever asked me, did I want to sing? They just knew I was good. I had people, I was in very serious area show business. I sung opera for the Lyric Opera Company. I sung for the Metropolitan Opera Company. I danced with the Philadelphia Ballet Company. I did all these really, really wonderful things. And I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, the reason that I did any of those kinds of things so that somebody would love me. Somebody would want to take care of me and not kick me to the curb. I felt like, of course, my first, being before I was born, telling me she hated me inside, it had a very dramatic effect on me. Then I get adopted, and I felt like, these people did what they thought was really good. They found out that I was a tremendous singer. I had almost perfect pitch. I could remember anything. I was good on stage, and they thought that they were doing me a solid by letting me go ahead and do that kind of stuff. But no one ever asked. No one ever said, Ray, what do you want? Do you want to do this? And so when I look back at it now, all I can think of is the only reason I did any of that kind of stuff. If I dance, will you keep me? If I sing for this person, if I do these tours, will you love me? Will you not throw me away? And I think that permeated everything I did, including drugs. I started. Oh God, the stuff that I did. I smoked before I got sober. I smoked a boatload of cocaine. In the early '60s, I did a lot of acid. I'm one of the people that can attest to the fact that heroin led me to pot, not the other way around. And all of those things, when I look at it again, I didn't really do all those things because I was in pain, because I wanted to. I did those things because other people around me were doing the same kind of thing. So I did them as well because I wanted to belong. Okay. So my entire life, when I think about what did I get out of this kind of stuff, what happened with the addiction and all that, it got me, I survived it to a point where I could just get into and become sober. And then I could finally say, something, I'm okay. I don't have to destroy everything around me. I don't have to push people away to prove to me that they don't love me. I don't have to do any of that kind of stuff anymore. So my life in the very beginning was very singular. I don't think that I did anything other than doing stuff so that people would love me and take care of me.
Okay. Well, we certainly extend our heart goes out to you for all the struggles you encountered in your life. And not to diminish any of those, we want to say that we're also very happy to see that you made such a dramatic turn for the better. So, it's worked out in the end for you, and we're very happy for that. So, one of the things you did was you had a lot of addiction, but in 1984, you decided, for whatever reason, and that's the question, was there something in particular that sparked your decision to turn your life around in 1984? And how has that experience changed your life?
Okay. So I segment that because I'm sober. Sober over 40 years now.
Wow.
So what got me sober? Cookies and coffee. Yeah, absolutely. I was living in a drug house, not a getting sober drug house. I was living with these people that were selling a tremendous amount of cocaine.
Wow.
This is in Brentwood, and I started getting seizures. And I walked into a plate glass window and shattered a plate glass window and walked away without a scratch.
Oh my God.
They asked me to leave the house, and I had no place to go. I was out on the street, and somebody said, "Hey, if you're hungry, why don't you go down the street here? They'll give you coffees and cookie and coffees." And so that's how I ended up on the store doorsteps of AA, and I just stayed. Now, I lost my mind during that time. I was really a mess, and I was one of those street people that you would like cross the street away from me because I couldn't hold conversations. I had really lost it. And so I think that that's the day in 84, August 28th, 1984 is the day that I officially quit drugs and I quit alcohol.
Right.
But I don't feel like I was sober until maybe 4 or 5 years later, and by that, I mean, I was still living I wasn't drinking or using, but I was still living with all my problems and all my issues, and all that kind of stuff was still there. It was very prominent in my life. And then a point came where I had a sponsor that said to me, "When are you going to stop blaming yourself? All this shit happened to you and it was not your fault. And when are you going to start taking some actions to help yourself out? People are not going to save you anymore." And that's what saved me. That's
Wow.
what saved me. The thing that happened that got me really understanding a lifetime purpose is when the first person that came to me and asked me to sponsor them, I was so unprepared. I was scared to death. I knew that I was going to end up killing this person. And so my sponsor said, "Look, if they ask, you got to do it, and you just do your best and you be honest and this kind of thing." And you know what? I loved it. I loved helping them out. I went and I ended up sponsoring so many people, and I didn't do it so that they loved me. It was the first time that I did something because I wanted to help somebody else. Didn't care about that other stuff that I carried around for so long. It seemed to have been gone. And I went, something, I like this. And
Yeah.
I want to help people out. I don't know why. I don't understand how I could know the things that I know. I didn't know that, but I was getting messages that were, some of it were from the program, but a lot of it was just, helping people take new steps, helping them take new actions so that instead of trying to figure out what's wrong, you do some actions and you take actions and you make things right. And that made so much sense to me instead of,
Right.
that kind of thing. So question number 3.
Excellent, right? You must be commended for having such a bright, positive outlook on life. Again, considering what
Thank
you
you.
do. So let's jump right into your actual work itself. What stands out in your coaching work, your life coaching work that has produced the desired results when helping people transform failing relationships?
I think the big thing is helping people understand that without good information, the things that you do is probably not your fault. You didn't need to live in shame, and you didn't need to live if somebody didn't tell you how to be a good partner to somebody, how to take care of yourself, how to be honest, and the things you're going to get out of it. Then maybe coming to me or seeking some kind of help somehow with somebody else. You ought to focus on the fact that you cared enough about yourself to do that. I
Yeah.
think the biggest thing with me is telling people that that you do something good for yourself, because it's really not your fault that you didn't. All your information is probably pretty bad.
Wow. Excellent. Now, one of the things I think, especially with today's society, is this inability for people to take ownership or responsibility for whatever situation they find themselves in. Now, while it's true we should empathize with people, the thing is, and I'm going to ask it in the question form here. Do you encourage individuals to take ownership of their relationships and personal growth? And if so, what is your strategy?
I a lot of times, I look at the fact that I have only a small amount of time to mess around with people. Yeah, so you screwed up. You screwed up, and we know you screwed up, and you screwed up, and that's why you're here, because you screwed up. Okay. So let's figure out a way for you to look at how you screwed it up and come up with a way of not screwing it up. Come up with some kind of way that you can look at what you did and say, well, what were my alternatives here? And how could I have done this in a way that really helps me and helps the people that I'm doing this stuff with? And then if you want to go back and go to therapy and go see a therapist and find out why you did all that kind of stuff, go ahead. Go ahead. But I don't say, if you deny it, that's dumb, because you did it, So you go, okay, I hurt this person. Why did I hurt this person? How could I make it better? What can I do about this kind of thing? I think that that's more valuable than sitting around and going, yeah, I'm a bad person and I did this and I got to own it and I got to take out the flogger and all that crap. I don't believe in any of that kind of thing. And maybe that's what sort of makes me a lot different, is that I would prefer in a session with somebody, if I'm going to be there for an hour, I would prefer them walking away with new actions and different actions and understanding what they're going to get from taking those actions. A lot of times it's like people, you'll tell them to take an action, but they don't know why they're taking it. They don't understand what it's going to do for them and how it's going to affect their life. You want them to understand that if they want to be happy, here's a way to do something, and you see if it's going to make you happy or not, But
Yeah.
beating yourself up, I think that's sort of like lazy. Don't beat yourself up. You've already done it. You've already done stupid stuff. You got caught half the time. Who cares? Don't do it. Just do something good.
Yeah, well, you got to move on. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Now, how do you think your personal story can inspire and relate to the men and boys that our organization serve?
I think that what was very important for me is that starting to recognize that that people are people first, and some of them happen to be women, and some of them happen to be men, and some of them happen to be a job or all these kinds of things. And I think that the most important thing to tell anybody, especially young men, is to set yourself up with a route, a place that you want to work from. And that place, I suggest that place would be your personal happiness. How do I live in this lifetime? How do I work with other people? How do I connect to other people so that they're nice to me? If you treat people lousy, then you have a reason to fear about what they're going to do, because you've treated them badly.
Right.
If I want to be happy, I want to be happy to everybody. I want to be nice to everyone. I want to talk to people in an elevator. I want to be friendly with them. I want to ask them, how are you doing? I want to include them. I want to do all these kinds of stuff, because ultimately, when they treat me, when it comes back to me, I want everything that I do to filter back into my happiness. I want to be happy, period. And so, like in a partnership, I want to find out what my partner needs, what is going to make my partner happy, so that the first thing that we have to do in every situation is not prove that she's my partner, not prove that I care about her. We can go straight to working together to do something together without having to have this discussion about why are we together. I want her to know, If you're with another man, I want you to know that he knows that, what it's all about. What do you mean to each other so that you can prosper from it, get something good out of it.
Exactly. Moving on, what specific challenges or issues do you see men and boys face in their relationships and life in general, and how do you address those in your coaching work?
Um, you really do need. Okay, so in my coaching work, I work a lot. I work a lot with women to be able to move things along, and the reason for that is that women are raised, when women are born, and as soon as you can, you hand a girl a dolly. And so she's set up to have families. She's set up to do all these kinds of things. And we are given dump trucks and dirt and balls and things like that. They don't expect that we're going to be, that we hadn't have anything to do. And we're told terrible things about women. We're told that we're supposed to fix things. We're told that we're supposed to advance and push other people around. We're told a lot of really, really terrible stuff. And then we're supposed to be happy, and we're supposed to be men, and we're supposed to take care of our families and all that stuff. It's terrible, the information that we get as men and as boys. So what do you do about it? You challenge all your thoughts. You expect that what you've been told, maybe it's been told with a good intention. Maybe you're told that you can never make a woman happy, or you can't succeed in this thing, or don't push this in your work. You're told all these kind of things from people that don't know any better. Maybe they're trying to help you out. Maybe they're giving you the best information that you can. And this is really about your parents too. That your parents don't plot at nighttime thinking how to screw your life up. They're thinking about what's the best thing that they can give you. And what they're giving you is really lacking in any kind of help to become a man, to grow up and become a man. Take control of these things. Ask the questions about, do I really want to do this? Haven't I done this before in some way, shape, or form? If I've done it before and it has turned out badly, maybe I better figure out another way to do this kind of thing. Maybe I ought to ask a person, what do they need? For instance, because we're men, we're always trying to fix this with women. We're always trying to fix what's going on with them, but we never ask them what it is that they want or what it is that they need. And that would go with another one of your friends. You could do something for a friend and you really expect them to love you and be happy about what you did. And they're probably looking at you going, I didn't want that. I don't even know what you were thinking about that you would think that I wanted that. So the idea about this stuff is to ask what it is that people need. Find out what it is that you need. What do you need to be happy? And really, you don't have to be angry, but don't trust the stuff that you've been told unless you make it yours. I'm not saying that some of these things aren't good. I'm saying that everything that you're told, you've been put in a place where you're expected to do what they told you to do. You're expected to go to college. Nobody says, hey, hang on, listen, college might be a really good idea, but what are you thinking about in your life? What are you thinking would be good for you? What are you interested in? And then, I thought college would be good, but you may hate college. It may be completely wrong. If they don't give you that second part of it, all you think as a young person is you got to go to college.
Right.
And then you're in college and you hate it and you don't want to do it, and you're $100,000 in debt at the end of it, and you're looking for something. I want to sell balloons on the street corner of Philadelphia. That's what I want to give. It may not work out for you, but at least you get the choice.
Exactly.
You
Absolutely. So, can you offer any suggestions as to ways our organization can better serve our communities, including improving the lives of men and boys?
I let me see here. What would be a good thing? I think a lot of it is just telling young men, listen, you're going to be okay. You don't have to be okay right now, but you're going to be okay. Things, learn about the stuff that you need in your life, and then, ask for help when you need it. Um, so something about your organization.
Right.
Uh, what would something of that thing be? Is probably to have classes or something where boys can call in and ask questions anonymously. Man, that's a decent thing. I don't know if you have that. Encourage kids to come and say, listen, the reason that you're not asking questions is because you look like you don't know what the answers are, and nobody knows what the answers are. You know,
Yeah.
nobody. And so understand that we had to figure it out. We don't even know what all the answers are, but don't deprive yourself of answers by this idea that you need to know everything. You don't.
Yeah, good point. And yes, to answer your question there, we do have a few projects, ongoing projects, some that we have completed already with different age groups, different demographics.
Uh-huh.
We, involve men and boys, sometimes other demographics as women, to participate in areas like mental health issues and other issues that are important to them. So we do have some things that we're doing right now that are grant sponsored, and we're working on getting some more important issues on the table so we can encourage more and more people to get involved.
You
Um,
know, I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but something very important that comes up is that we focus as human beings. We focus on what's negative. We focus on the problems, and we should put the same effort into the positive things that happen, so that we don't do enough of that kind of thing. What made you happy today? What did you do today that was good? Those kinds of things are very important. And in a sense, it's the exact same things as dealing with negativity. Negativity happens so that you can learn something.
right.
Positivity happens because you learn something. So there.
Yeah, for sure. Now, are there any potential collaborative opportunities or projects you'd like to explore with our organization?
I really don't know. I thought about that, and at the moment, I I wish I had more time. I haven't been able to think about that. I am going to be doing my own Zoom classes and this type of stuff. I am very focused on trying to get my message out there, and so thanks again for having me on here and being able to talk about that kind of stuff. I would say that if, after hearing me, if there was something that you said, something we're thinking about doing this or doing that, I would definitely, appreciate that and talk to you about it. So yeah, but I've got so much on my table right now. I don't, you know, I
Yeah,
think,
well, sometimes ideas just pop like that into one's head. So maybe down the road, you may come across some bright idea that you'd like to share with us, and we'd certainly appreciate that. So now
thank you.
moving on to your fascinating book, can you give us some insights on this really fascinating book, Universal Guide to a Healthy Selfish Partnership?
Yeah, well, see, here is relationship is crossed out. You can
Okay.
see that. Can you see that?
Yes, we're going with partnership only.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. So relationship is crossed out. Um, what happened to me over the years is that I was a relationship coach. And I'm a very patient person. And like I said, I get information, universal information. I started getting very frustrated because everybody that came to me was asking how to fix things. And I kept thinking, why doesn't anybody ask me how to prevent things from happening? And I realized that this book teaches people about the divisive nature of relationships. Relationships have a boyfriend, girlfriend. They may have two. They may be a gay couple or something like that. They're a husband and wife. But whatever that kind of stuff is divisive by nature. Being a husband, you act like a husband, and a wife acts like a wife. The idea about partnership that came to me, and I really do understand it now extremely well, is that inside a partnership, it takes two equals, people that they may be different in certain areas here, but they deem themselves to be equals, and they go to each other for their own strengths and weaknesses to make decisions before we do anything. Inside a partnership, we're going to decide what to do and how to go about doing it so that our actions don't hurt the partnership. They don't hurt the relationship. Where people in partnerships can have fantastic relationships if they decide that's what they want to do. If they decide they want to have a good relationship, then they have to sit down and talk and say, well, what part are you going to play and how can I help you? If you want to if you want to stay home with the kids, how do I help you do that? I help you do that kind of stuff because, first off, I want you to feel important. I want you to feel like like this is something that we agreed upon and we think it's a good idea. So we're not taking you for granted. I want to know what you're doing so I don't end up saying, well, she just sits at home all day and she doesn't do anything. Well, we decided that you're going to sit home and you're going to take care of the kids. So I don't get that opportunity to blame you for it. I get the opportunity to say, how is this affecting us and what can we do about it? So two people in partnerships, I believe 100% that this book is all about taking the next step in humanity. It is people in relationships are very seldom partners. People in partnerships can have great relationships. I think it's another step in adulting.
Yeah, well, judging by the testimonials I've observed about your work, I'm sure people will be it will be well worth their time to read this book. So very well
Thank you.
done.
And it's fun too. It's
Yeah,
fun. It's written like poetry and stuff. It's
yeah, that's
yeah.
light-hearted. It gets the message more, I guess, interesting, and people are more
Yeah.
likely to get to it. So, how can listeners learn more about your work, including your contact information?
Okay. Well, the book is out, and you can go and pick that up at Amazon or just about any place right now. Universal Guide to a Healthy Selfish Relationship / Partnership. You can reach me if you're interested. I'm still taking in clients, and I'd be happy to help anybody out. As a matter of fact, if people if they tell me that they saw me on your show, I'll give them a 15-minute free consultation and they can ask me some questions and see if we could work out together. And I'll also give you a reduced price on sessions, and I have a 3-package deal that people can take advantage of. So that's available. You can reach me at ray.innerpower@gmail.com. That's ray.innerpower@gmail.com, or you can call me 602-487-4805.
Excellent. So, what's next for you, and how do you see your work evolving in the future?
I want to take Oprah out of retirement. I want Oprah to read my book and tell everybody. Yeah, but actually, as I'm laughing, but it is something like that. I want to do a TED Talk, and I want to reach a much larger audience. I do believe that the message is very, very important, especially I there's a secondary part of this whole thing where I recognize that what I do with people in partnerships is eventually it's supposed to go out into a much larger audience. It's supposed to reach people that you don't know, taking care of people, respecting other people that you don't know for your own happiness, and being able to build a much better world than we have. And I thought that I would have some time before I started pushing that part of the dialogue, but the way things are going right now, I think that that's something that I need to say something. This is not just about your relationships with each other. This is a book about your relationships with everybody, and mostly about a way to find your happiness.
Yeah, well, I'm sure your book has led you on the right path and you're heading in the right direction. And I'm sure you'll gather more traction with future endeavors. And we obviously wish you the best. Now, we're winding down here. We have a final question. But before we get to that, some information, more information about our organization. First of all, we welcome everyone, and I mean everyone, regardless of age, gender, nationality, whatever, to share with us, any information you want to. If you have any questions, you're free to ask us. If you want to be a guest on our show, likewise, just let us know, and we'll be happy to reach out to you and arrange some sort of time where we can work together towards setting up a show with you. We would love to work with individuals, professionals, experts, anybody, community organizations, government officials, the lot. Everybody is welcome. Our phone number here is 226-289-8784. Our email address is info@voiceofmen360.org. Our website is www.voiceofmen360.org. And we're pretty much on all social media. We have a Facebook group page. Please join us to see what our daily activities are. And we pretty much implore you to invite your friends as well, and other social platforms we have, media platforms we have, include Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. We have a YouTube channel, Voice of Men 360, and we would love for you to subscribe to that and be part and parcel of the input that we have out there for everyone. So we've come to a final question here for Ray. And just to sum it up, what are your final thoughts or recommendations you'd like to share with our audience?
Work to be happy and love everybody around you. I think that's probably it. Thank you, everybody, and I honor my deepest connection to one and all. And please feel free to reach out to me, and have a blessed life.
Thank you so much, Ray. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been blessed to have this fascinating discussion with Ray Kopakowski, partner coach, life coach, author, and speaker from Arizona, the United States. We've thoroughly enjoyed this session, and we hope that you out there have picked up something purposeful, something meaningful from it all. And we look forward to bigger and better things with Ray in the future. So to the audience out there, to everyone out there, we really appreciate the time you took to join us today. Thank you so much to Ray, and to our behind the scenes control master, Sivam, our president. Thank you as well. So from all of us here at Voice of Men 360, good night.